Brendan, you say, how do I draw like that? Just practice, sir. It's just you have to like to draw and sit down and just start practicing and learning. I mean, I've been doing it forever. So it's just practice. I know it's a boring answer, but it's the real answer. Hey, Gayton, I know it's not Thursday. I don't know. I'm just sitting here doodling, and I haven't done like a solo one for a while, and I just thought, why not?
I use Febreze fabric refresher every day to make my home smell amazing. On my bed, my couch, my jacket or jeans, in between washes, even shoes.
YouTube
Febreze
commercials.
doesn't cover hot odors with scent, but fights them and freshens. Over 1,000 uses. Febreze fabric refresher.
A rookie stunt driver. Again. Impressive. Will prove he's got what it takes.
Well, if you subbed, Brendan, I appreciate it. I'm just a guy that talks comics and art and stuff like that, so could be interesting depending on what your likes are. But yeah, someone said, I know, man. You're like, wait a minute, what day is it? I know I keep saying this, but I got a plan to do one of these with you or Mark if you want to. That would be a fun thing if you're ever interested. I just got to plan it accordingly. Kratos, brother, I have no idea what you're talking about. Subbing can mean different things. Oh, well said. Oh, that's hilarious. Subbing. Well, Kratos, go on a quest and find him somewhere, because not here, buddy. I figured with the name Kratos. I'm like, I kind of figured. Monster King, I'm drawing my comic series. That's what I'm focusing on today, so that's what I'm doing here. I got pages I gotta get done. So, someone's saying, what's new with you, man? What's going on in your world? No, seriously, man. I know how that is. It's like I wish I could say all kinds of badass things are going on and exciting, but it's just kind of the everyday grind, right? Just we work and we draw and we exist, and it's just kind of the norm, but that's all right. I'd take that over like chaotic insanity any day. Yeah, just doing the daily grind like most of the world. Seriously, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I was saying, could be worse, right? Dinosaur Dino, light from behind? What do you mean? Jai Deep, what's up? What's up, dude? Feels like it's been a minute since I've seen you creep up in here. Mr. J Ultra badass. Well, thank you, Monster King, for being a submissive and liking. I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate it. Like I said, I just do comic-related stuff, so depending on what a person's interests are, you know. You're talking about on this face right here, Dinosaur Dino. It's more of like a above is the idea. I've got this ridiculous little figure, and I was kind of holding the light up and trying to like get some lighting off the figure here, and I was kind of like using this as a guide, so just trying to see how it comes out. Mr. J, you've been busy a whole bunch. I mean, yeah, I've been just working away on the comic. I've actually been in a little bit of a slump, just not feeling it and having some struggles with the pages I've been working on. And Chuck kind of slowed down on sending me some inked pages a little bit, which I understand, it's not a big deal. But then he sent me some updates. And as soon as I see the stuff that he's doing on the inking on my pages, I suddenly get excited and motivated again. So Kratos, you ask what's the comic book about? Well, this is where it sounds kind of silly depending on what your interest is, but I've been working on a He-Man, like a Masters of the Universe fan comic for a long time. And I've got several volumes of it done, like 5 volumes. This is volume 6, the last and final one, so kind of excited to bring this story to a completion. It's kind of a silly concept, I know, but I grew up with it and the He-Man thing, and I just had stories, and I just started coming up with my own. My version's a lot more adult and violent, you know, the kind of stuff that I'd want to see, which is how I explain it all the time. Yeah, Mr. J. It's just I've mentioned this before. I just find these techno beats online, but this Aim to Head Official is this this YouTube page. This has these kind of, they're copyright free, which is what's part of the fun of being able to do a live and being able to listen to it, because I don't get copyright, hit with a copyright if I'm streaming with like copyrighted music. So, and I've got several. If you can see on my list here, these 4 right here. Yeah, these 4 right here. There's some good stuff in all of them, so it's on a permanent playlist. Dinosaur Dino, who were or are my artistic influences? I mean, if we're talking comic book stuff, it depends on who you know. If I mention a name and you know who it is, but Mark Silvestri, Adam Hughes, Jim Lee, J. Scott Campbell, Joe Madureira. I could go on, and I have before. Just try to be as good as I can be. Hey, Mr. J Ultra, are you you're part of the Discord? Do you join us up on that Discord channel we got going on, or? I mean, you've been around on the channel for a long time. Well, JD, it's fun if depending what your interests are. We mainly just talk about a bunch of artwork over there. But you know, it's a Discord server for the YouTube channel. But I mean, it may not be anything you're interested in. Don't feel obligated. I'm not trying to say you have to. But it's kind of fun. Dinosaur Dino, is this story completely scripted? I mean, I don't work that way. And if you're asking me, like, if I've scripted out the entire thing and then draw it after that, I don't work that way. But I do have, if you're interested, Dinosaur Dino, like, this is volume 1 of my fan comic right here. It's like 80 pages. This is volume 2. It's another 80 plus pages. Volume 3, same thing. This is volume 4. I got a huge story going on, and then my most recent one, book 5, which is the biggest one by far. It's like 117 pages of just this fan comic I've been doing. Like I said, I'm working on book 6 right now. Got a huge story to tell. It's less about love of Masters of the Universe and just more of the opportunity. I started coming up with stories, and this was kind of just where my mind started going, and I'm like, I'm going to tell a story through a fan comic that I can never sell because it's not official. Someone's saying all of us cool viewers are there, one of us. Oh, that's great. Someone said, you asked about Bagley's work. You know what's funny is, back in the day, I didn't dislike it, but it didn't stand out because I mentioned this, and I'm kind of stupid and didn't pay attention to certain things, but certain artists just looked really good to me, and that was the kind of the classic Image Comics guys. And I saw Bagley's work, and I kind of mistakenly kind of thought he was like an Eric Larson clone. And I feel like they were kind of similar. In fact, there was a time when I thought Mark Bagley and Eric Larson sometimes were the same person before I paid attention to who was who. But as time went on, like, I collected every issue of Ultimate Spider-Man that Bagley drew with Bendis, and I loved it. And I've just grown to like him more and more as time goes on. So I really appreciate him and like him. So I was kind of slow to the game as far as, you know, liking and respecting Mark Bagley. I wonder what he does anymore. I haven't heard from him. But yeah, I like him. I think he's really talented. I just kind of missed out on it. I mean, I picked up a bunch of stuff that he did when I was younger. When he was doing Amazing Spider-Man and the Carnage stuff. I never thought of it as like great art, but I understand it now that he is good, I think. I assume Mark Bagley is probably pretty well off financially. You do enough work over enough time, you start collecting up royalties from books you've worked on, and I think that's fair. Like, it should be that way. Just, I hate it when artists that I really like kind of don't draw anymore. But probably an older guy and doesn't want to have to put in that grind if he doesn't have to. So someone's saying, what do you think about my suggestion of the draw challenge this Thursday to do Jessica? Or guess I shouldn't word it that way. To draw Jessica as a villain. I only threw it out there because, one, it's her birthday next Monday. And then she suggested everyone, like, hey, we should draw Rob for his YouTube thing. And I'm like, all right, fair play. I can get you back. And it's not like it's hard to draw a pretty girl, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if you have to, like, see, for me, it's kind of like just a fun thing because, I mean, it's not like there's any prizes or anything besides bragging rights, I guess. I just think it's kind of a fun thing. Like, I also kind of hope that it would be like a little bit of a flattering thing for her where we could take pictures of her and just like do like attractive portraits or something like that. But we could like, oh, it's an evil, you know. Just for her birthday, as like a kind of a collective thing to do something fun for her. I do get the idea of being in a rut, but I just thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to do because she takes good selfies. She's told me how she feels kind of embarrassed how she puts some effort and time into making him look good, and she's like, I know how to take a good selfie. I'm like, fuck yeah, you do. She's like, I'm not that cute. I'm like, I don't know about that, but sure. But Dinosaur Dino, is there a way to attain your He-Man? Yeah, I have copies. Basically, we call it a donation to the channel because I can't technically sell it, but I do through PayPal. And because they're such big books, like I was saying, like if somebody wanted every volume, this is how much you get. You know, it's not like it's a 20-page floppy comic book. You basically get 5 graphic novels if you want them all. But I basically ask $20 a piece, and we do it through PayPal if you're interested. So I've got an Instagram where people contact me through, or Facebook, or here. Crazy Dave, yeah, man, I draw in pencil. I'm like an old school dinosaur. I actually draw with pencil on paper. I don't do digital. No disparaging remarks meant to anybody who does digital. I'm just like one of the last holdouts, and I don't want to change. I understand the advantages 100% to digital. I just prefer this. So it's not that cute. I know, right, dude? I mean, she's humble, you know. I think she's kind of aware where she kind of falls on the scale of attractiveness, but she's humble. She's never going to be like, I'm the cutest girl ever, but you know, I mean, I think it's like everyone kind of doesn't mind getting told like, hey, you know, you're kind of cute, you know. So that was part of why I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to do. And that's why I put up all those pictures of her. I'm like, every picture she takes is a good one. A channel, you say that's really cool and cool. Well, thank you. Brendan says you're a really good artist. Well, I appreciate it. I'm certainly not the best at all, but I do what I do, and I hope that it connects on some level with some people, and sometimes it does. crazy, Dave. You say that's actually impressive. I tried drawing with a pencil, and the best I've done is draw a bad-looking eye. It's tricky. But I just like having an actual pencil and putting it to paper and having a physical thing to actually hold. But that's just me. I'm 47. I'm not like I'm a young kid or anything, so I'm just old school like that. D-Man, the big D. The biggest D you ever did see. D-Man, why haven't you joined up our Discord? You're always posting up your He-Man drawings and stuff like that. I see them on YouTube. Why don't you join our Discord and put them up there? What are my comic book plans after this last book? It's kind of up in the air. I had plans of what I was definitely going to do, but I might have the possibility of a collaboration with somebody that would take my plans in a different direction. It just depends on if that person wants to do something with me when I am done with my current stuff. What's a Discord? D-Man's old school too. D-Man, if you're being serious, it's just an app you can download on your phone. That's basically like a, I don't know, how would you describe it, Gaten? Like forums where you just can join up and there's different places to have conversations, kind of in a private group that's basically just the regulars from the channel. Someone's saying it's a big application with lots of fanboys, but that's not important right now. Is that a airplane reference? Oh, I do it. Oh, fucking I do it. Someone's saying, oh, props to you, brother, for the airplane reference. I love that movie so much. God, I don't know why, but I kind of like this drawing right here. I kind of feel like the shadows I got on this are gonna kind of look interesting if I don't fuck it up in the inking. Very rarely do I do a thing where I'm like, oh my god, I kind of like that. Anyway, D-Man, it's free. It's a free app. You can download it and you can join up, and we're all on there kind of chit-chatting and sharing our artwork and giving, feedback back and forth. It's cool. It's chill. It's fun. Someone saying's the moderator over there with Jessica, so he is Lord and Jesus, so you respect him or he'll ban your ass. A hospital? What's that? It's a building with patients in it, but that's not important right now. Damn it, Gaten. Now I want to watch Airplane. Yeah, there you go. Discord is an app that has written and voice channels where people can share whatever's on their minds. Well said. I just did a solo audio commentary to that 1989 animated one-off Pride of the X-Men. For those of you who remember that, I was like, I want to do something, have a little bit of different stuff going on. And I'm like, I could do a solo. I'd rather do it with my brother, but it's proving difficult for us to get together sometimes because he's got wife and kid and lives 45 minutes away. I'm like, you know what? So I did a little 22-minute commentary on Pride of the X-Men. You reference Airplane Lines about 2 or 3 times a week. It's such a great movie. I mean, I loved it as a kid, even though I didn't get a lot of the jokes. But as I got older, but yeah, I find myself quoting the Jive Talk from the two black guys. I had it memorized at one time, where they go off against that one actress from that one show. Like, what's up, Big Mama? My mama don't raise no dummy. I dug her rap. Cut me some slack, Jack. Savion Robinson, you asked, did I print this comic book? Well, I'm working on volume 6. I have volumes 1 through 5 right here. So this is everything that I've got done. I've been working on it for a minute, and I'm kind of proud of it. That's right, I remember. I had the lasagna. Dude. Oh, I'm going to be quoting Airplane for the rest of the night, Gaten, man. That's hilarious. Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? What's the other question he asked the kid, the pilot? He says, you ever seen a grown man naked? And he's like, have you ever been in a Turkish prison? What's the other question he asked that kid? I know you. You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, that's so great. I want to watch that movie now. Do you like movies about gladiators? That's right. I do. Do you like movies about gladiators? Oh my God, that's so great. All right. Gonna pause the music because I got to take a picture of my pencils. because I'm one of those weirdos that only takes his pencils this far before I start inking, because that's all I need. I can go from here. I wouldn't hand him off to Mr. Chuck Gibson this rough, but opinions on Rippaverse. Dinosaur Dino? Oh, you get D-Man started, and he's going to just start going to town on the Rippaverse. As far as the comics on the Rippaverse, I've only ever seen one in that I saw, what's his name, Ethan Van Sciver do a review on it, and I kind of agree with everything that he said, if you know who he is, and the book looked really, really boring. Artistically, it looked like there was a lot of static art models, like computer models from figures to render the figures. It looked boring as hell. And that's instantly a turnoff. Like, unless the story is absolutely stunning. Again, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's true. That's the guy that was in the original Mission Impossible. I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure. D-Man, who are you talking about? Who was exposed in Hollywood back in 1980? The pilot on the airplane? That's not true, is it? CJ Ultra, I want to find the Isom comic. I want to get it just so I can read it. And also, not going to lie, it'd be nice to have some content for the channel that would get some eyes. But, I mean, it just looked so boring. But yeah, maybe I'll get my hands on one of those Isom comics one of these days and have a little conversation about it on the channel. Yeah, Jaideep, right? That's what I'm saying. You got $3 million. So he's doing something right. I feel like he's appealing to a group of fans that want to see certain things and don't want to see other things. And so that's fair. That's valid. But God, make the comic not terrible. Glock says you'll pay $10 if you mess up right now. Every line I do is a mess up. Look, how about this? My ink's out. There. How about this, Glock? How about that? Is that a mess up right on the page? How about right here? Damn pen. There, I'm scribbling all over it. Look, I just scribbled all over my pages. I screwed them up. $10. Yeah, no shit. Favorite inkers? Tim Townsend. God, I'm not gonna remember so many of them. Scott Williams, Joe Weems is one of my favorites, depending on who he's inking over. There's a fantastic badass inker by the name of Chuck Gibson, who happens to be pretty damn badass, and wouldn't you know it, he's doing some ink work over my stuff. And he's inked Jim Lee before, so how am I supposed to feel about that, except humbled. Klaus Janson. Danny Meeke, hell yeah. There you go. Yep. It's a shame that the poor guy had to get trained inking over Liefeld, because I don't know how you translate that stuff. But he did. But he's really good. I like Danny Meeke. I wish I could like sit in next to these classic Crow Quill ink and brush inkers and just see what they do. Yeah, Gaten, you're right. The important part is knowing which will make you happy and which will make you money and which will land you in prison. That was the most important to look out for. Solid advice, sir. Yeah. You know, it's one of the most messed up like celebrities to end up in jail for being a disgusting human being is that stupid Subway guy, Jared. Man, that guy turned out to be like a horrible creeper. But at least they caught him. And poor Subway's like, man, did we bet on the wrong lard ass. Someone's saying you are 100% correct. Like, I'm one of those guys, for example. I might fall into a minority category here, but I don't know if I believe all the shit they said about Michael Jackson and all the stuff he alleged. I mean, he's obviously very weird and did some weird shit, but I don't know if I believe it. I don't, because he's such an easy target because he's weird. But it's not going to stop me because there's no proof of any of that shit. It's all hearsay. I'm not going to stop enjoying his music, so. Don't call me Shirley. Gaten, man, you got a great sense of humor, bro. Scarlet Ybarra says awesomeness at its finest. I don't know if you're talking about my work, but if so, I appreciate it. If you're referring to what you're seeing here. Yeah, MJ was a weird guy, but the talent was real. I don't know if I know that interview you're referring to, D-Man, but I might have to go look it up. But Michael Jackson, I mean, the poor guy was raised from, how old was he when he started, like in the Jackson 5? He doesn't know anything but show business and the pressure to succeed. You don't grow up normal in that world. And that's just something we've seen repeated over and over, and it's kind of unfortunate. And then once you get rich and famous, you're the money train, so no one will tell you no. Like, hey, stop taking these pills. It's going to kill you. It's a fine line, Mr. D-Man. It's a fine line. It goes to show you can beat a person to greatness, but there's a fine line before you want to beat him hard enough to get a Thriller album, but not so hard that he fucks children. It's a fine line. Yeah, someone's saying that's it exactly. You reach a crazy point in your career, and everyone's just like, yep, whatever you want. I kind of feel like that's what happened with Britney Spears. Not that I don't care about her music or anything like that, but just as a human being. Dinosaur Dino, you notice my style is heavy with shadow. It's not necessarily always the case. I feel like my stuff looks best when I try to do a lot of heavy shadow stuff, but I don't feel like I'm very good at it. But I just need to try more. This page happens to be extremely heavy on shadows, and that's a stylistic specific choice. Like, everyone's steeped in shadow in every one of these panels. But, I mean, if I'm talking about shadows and stuff like that, you can't go any better than Mike Mignola with his heavy shadows and shading. Yeah, D-Man, I'm not a fan of Oprah either. You get a car, and you get a car. Yeah, you're right. You got Gayton. You got to have a good understanding of form to do good shadows. It's very true. I have a middling understanding of forms. I think, if I'm on a good day.
Time to set a cozy mood. Shea butter and warm sugar is where it's at. Or maybe you want a champagne spritz and roses type mood. Whatever you need, Philly introduced the Breeze Air Mist fragrances today.
Well, thanks, man. I mean, as always, like I say, I try, but sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's like, what the hell did I just do? And then you're stuck. Well, you're an artist, Gaten. I mean, obviously. Do you find yourself like watching movies and then noticing the shapes of the shadows on people's faces and forms as you're watching the movie? I find that happening to me all the time. I'm like watching it, and it's not that I'm not interested in the show, but like when there's heavy lighting, I find myself going like, oh, look at the way the shadows are cast across the face and the neck and the shoulder. I got to remember that. Yeah, I think it's just something as an artist, if you're forced to, if you're trying to draw that type of stuff, you kind of can't help but notice it. And it's a good way to learn, I think. Yeah, I'm always checking out the lighting on these things. It's yeah, good way to learn. D-Man, I never watched Teen Titans. I'm a loser that doesn't care for the DC Comics stuff too much, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they like it, go for it. Make a thing. I'll always be supportive of somebody being like, I made a thing. I'm like, fucking awesome. Like, get it. Go make a thing. You're already miles ahead of a lot of people. Yeah, you're not wrong about that, Gaten. Hardcore animation. It's animation. It's cartoon. It's for kids. I'm like, yeah, not exactly. Not all of it. Yeah, exactly, Gaten. Everyone thinks it's a cartoon. It's for kids. I think that concept has shifted in the public view a bit, but it's still like the mainstream thought. Sergio Corona says, looks good, keep it up. Well, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I was saying recently, Gaten, that I don't watch a lot of anime. I'm not a fan of a lot, but the stuff I have seen has ruined my ability to appreciate like American style animation. It's just not even close to the same. The attention to detail, the sound, the action, just I got brothers and friends like, dude, watch this DC animated thing with Batman. Then I'll try it. I'm like, this sucks.
¿Quieres sacarle el máximo provecho a una sola hoja? Usa Bounty. Mientras las marcas corrientes no aguantan una sola...
Hey, did any of you guys follow the Todd McFarlane Spawn cover contest? And see how he announced some winners? There's some people freaking out, and I think correctly so, that one of the winners used AI to create his image. And I guess everyone's freaking out, appropriately so, because McFarlane said AI won't count, but then he chose one that was made by AI. I bet you if that is the case, he didn't do it knowingly. But a lot of the contestants on that thing are pissed off. Yeah, McFarlane did that. He called it Spawnuary, like for the entire month of January. He's like, I'm holding a contest. Draw an awesome picture of Spawn, and the best one will be a cover for the book, which is pretty badass. It's a good marketing gimmick for him and his brand. It gets the brand out there in front of people's eyes by just having a bunch of people produce a bunch of free work for him. But he's going to choose a winner, and he chose a bunch of winners. He didn't narrow it down to just one. He chose several, to his credit. But yeah, he chose one somehow that was AI, and people are pissed. Like I said, I don't think he knowingly did it. He probably just was like, he's so inundated with submissions. He's like, Bud, this one looks pretty good. I like this one. We'll do this for the Spawn cover for January. Good job, Bud. But then somebody's probably pointing it out to him. He's like, fuck. Now I pissed off the fan base. But yeah, I hate AI. Like I went and followed up. Oh, you hadn't heard about that, Chuck? Good to see you, by the way, Chuck. Yeah, he posted all the winners, if that's what you're talking about. And I just going through the comments, and several people are like, oh, you chose this guy. He does AI art. You said you wouldn't choose AI art. And then the guy is responding to people. He's like, F you guys. I draw on Procreate and blah, blah, blah. And that one that I did was totally done by hand, like by digital. And so everyone's like, hey, then post up the time lapse of it, because that automatically saves it. And you go look at the guy's page, and everything is just AI created. It's such a fucking, like, it's such bullshit, because honestly, the AI stuff does create visually interesting stuff if you don't know. Yeah, it just sucks that people are like, I could just type it into a computer and I made things, and people will think I'm a creative artist. So yeah, I wonder if Todd will keep that AI guy once it comes to light. Oh, shit. Where did they go? Chuck, I can order off the drive-through menu. That makes me a world-class chef. Perfect. It's a perfect metaphor, man. That's exactly right. Yep. Yeah, if Spawn has 6 fingers, we know it's AI. Seriously. I don't think Todd would let that get past him. I mean, what do I know? I don't know nothing. Oh yeah, I watched that, Chuck. I was wondering if that damage on that book you got was as bad as it seemed like. That'd be frustrating to pay for an expensive book and have it show up in paper-thin packaging. Yeah, sometimes when you get it for a great price, you kind of can't be like, well, I got it for half the cost of normal, so I'll be happy with it. You know what's funny? This damn Nick Manabat Artist Edition that I got. I can't tell you the number of people that have hit me up from video asking if they could buy it off me. Everyone wants this damn thing. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. But I get it. I know how I'd feel if I was like, shit, how can I get my hands on that thing? You know, for real, Chuck, if somebody offered me $1,000 for it, my shit would get rid of it right away. That's 100%. I ain't gonna lie. Every man does have a price, and $1,000. I could just take this and, I don't know, scan the pages or something. You know, I wish the guys that made this would just make like digital files freely available. I mean, why not? But yeah, for $1,000, I would send this shit to somebody right away. God, I haven't looked at this since I made that video, so now I'm suddenly kind of enamored with it. And I'm like, what is this crap I'm drawing? Look at this stuff. Hey, Chuck, if you're watching, I mean, this texture in the back here, I mean, and down here, it looks not quite like ink splatter with like, I just use a toothbrush. I was wondering if it looks like I mean, I don't know if it's coming through very clear if you're still here. Like, do you think this is like dabbing a sponge to get this texture, or a combination of flicking it? I mean, I know it's impossible to know. I remember looking at this texture. It doesn't look like the same ink splatter that like Jay Lee does, which to me feels like a toothbrush flicking it everywhere. This feels like a spongy texture, like a paper towel or something. It's definitely a different texture. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I wonder. And I figured I'd ask the resident professional. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. It gives an interesting texture. Some of the more boring pages. That's cool that you got to be able to know him, Chuck, at least a little bit, you know, meet the guy. Because he's kind of like a little known mythical legend in the comics art community. And because so little is known about him. This Nick Manabat guy. God, what a great page. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. All kinds of effects like that. You've got neat effects with cotton balls. I've never thought of that. Jim Lee. I've seen Jim Lee do some stuff with, I don't know if I've noticed it as Kleenex, but something. I've seen him do texturing with that type of stuff. Something like that. You talk about this one, Gayton. All these faces look amazing. This, let me put it more into panel here. This face, this back 3/4 face with old wrinkles. Holy shit, does that look good. Of course, I like the lighting on that figure up there in the Bacta tank. Yeah. Guy was crazy good. Oh, you're giving me ideas, Chuck. Cotton balls are great for dust kicking up under horse hooves or fog mist. Damn, all right. Well, one, I'm going to go buy some cotton balls. I'm going to have to experiment. That's a good idea. Man, this monster face. God, that looks awesome.
Meet the all-new Ashley. Discover new styles and remodeled stores, offering everything you need to create inspired spaces. From our store.
Silken Ghost for CrossGen. I don't think I've even heard of that. I might have to seek that out. I'm gonna have to definitely do a Google search. Kind of fell off the CrossGen bandwagon after the first couple titles in the first year. Just kind of wasn't for me. Wasn't that what's that samurai series that Bart Sears did? Was that CrossGen? Because that was pretty good. The Path, yes, thank you. I remember her saying how I'm like, some of Bart Sears' stuff was just a little bit too much, but I thought The Path, I haven't revisited it since. I collected it for several issues. I want to say at least every issue he drew, so that was quite a few. I've got them here somewhere. I'll be going through them. The Path, correct. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's awesome. You got a collection of it? CrossGen's owned by Marvel now, right? It must be through them. Didn't I hear that correctly, that they Marvel bought CrossGen's properties? No, A-Links. This is an art book. As I started thinking, like, anyone shows up, this is not me. This is an artist edition of this guy right here, Nick Manabat. Very limited edition thing. We were just kind of flipping through it here. This now looks significantly less interesting, but this is my stuff here on the page here. Yeah, it kind of sucks to go from this to my own. Now even I'm depressed. An old trade paperback, cheap on eBay. All right, that's awesome. But yeah, I'm going to dig out all those Path books. Walter Simon Thor omnibus, that would be awesome. I know, Gate, I was actually thinking that. I'm like, well, I mean, this thing I'm doing is not even like close to being finished, so that's fair, but still, it's still not going to be the same. Oh. Chuck, I got another question for you from old timey inking days. I mean, back in the days when you were doing this stuff, were there any kind of versions of like art pens like this? Were there any good quality drawing pens like these Microns or these Pitt pens that were used by professionals? I mean, I don't know, or I don't know. I didn't know what existed back in the day. I wasn't. I mean, I was drawing as a young teenager, but I didn't know what the hell. I lived in a small town with no art stores, so I would buy Bic pens from Walmart and wonder why everything I made looked like shit. But I'm like, did they have technical pens back in the day? So Microns existed. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, it makes sense. You figured somebody would have to put out like, hey, artists like to draw. We're going to put a good pen. You hated the ink in Microns because it's sticky? What do you mean by that? I mean, what I find I struggle with these art pens is that the ink comes up when you erase over it and kind of ruins the black line. So I'm curious. What do you mean by sticky? Like, I'm kind of curious now. Le Pen? You used to use it? Nope, never heard of that, buddy. Oh, that's interesting. When it dries, it wants to stick to your hand and arm a bit as it slides over. It scoots the page. I've never noticed anything like that, but now you got me wondering. I wonder if it's different material from back in the day. That's interesting. Chuck, you're a wealth of information. We're going to have to get you onto the channel and do a live or something like that. We're just going to grill you on like art questions and stuff. Like, answer our questions. Give us the inside info. You've always got great information. Another question, Chuck. I wonder if you got to use, I heard way back in the day, old image guys, not the image guy, I mean, I assume them, but I heard that like there was a quality of paper that artists would use back in the day that was like just supposed to be super amazing. I think I heard someone like, was it Richard Friend who said he's got like a, I don't know why I think of him, I could be wrong. He's still got a stack of it that he held on to, this just amazing paper that artists would draw on. And I'm like, this is just stuff I buy from the local like arts and crafts store. Just this generic Bristol board. And I'm like, I love drawing on this, but it's all I've ever known besides the crap I used to use as a teenager. So to me, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. I love it. And so I try to imagine what that would be like how the paper could be so, yeah, the first batch of paper at Wildstorm was legendary. I've heard that. I'm just wondering what that Like, what is it about the paper that was so good that made it stand out that way? And then, like, do they just not make it anymore? Was it a certain paper manufacturer, or the same shit that went on with, like, you were talking about those brushes that used to be so amazing and were made with the hairs from some gross rat thing that became an endangered species, and so they stopped letting him make art brushes out of it. Can't remember what the hell it's called. Oh, that's crazy. Where the studio got it when they ran out, they never got it again. Oh, that's got to be nuts. So I could imagine, like I said, I don't remember who it was. Somebody said they'd held on to a pile of it. And it's like, you're like, do you not want to draw on it? Because once you use it up, it's gone forever. But then what do you just hold on to it forever? Yeah, sable hair brushes. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Like I said, I just keep hearing about all these amazing art supplies that used to exist. And I'm like, oh, it sucks. I also never thought about it, but it makes sense when you apply some logic. But I heard like these Hunt 102 nibs. I just ordered some generic shit from Amazon, and then I've heard people talk about there's way better made ones. I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense because I'm just stupid. I don't think about it. But like really quality ones versus these generic ones you just get from Amazon. So I'm like, am I been using? Yeah. It's how you use it. That makes sense. Yeah. I just wish I could get my hands on one of those amazing old school sable hair brushes and just see what it's like to have a really good brush. Son of a Dun says hello. Hello, son of a Dun. That's a great metaphor. I'd like to play Eddie Van Halen's guitar, but I'm sure it sounds like shitty me playing a nice guitar. Do you actually play, Chuck? Is that just like a good metaphor you come up with? Are you like Greg Capullo and you're a badass guitar player too? You do play, but badly. Greg's way fucking better. Yeah, Capullo's badass, man. It's awesome to watch him like put up a little clip of him playing on his. I think it's his Instagram where I've seen it. I'm like, all right, that man can jam. I bet you it's a hell of a way to like just decompress and separate yourself from the grind of being at the table drawing forever. Like, I got to go jam some music and just play. I can see that being a great like way to decompress and disconnect from the artboard. Dude could play Judas Priest solos, and that's top shelf difficulty level shit. Damn. Oh, that's awesome. Kind of excited for this new Marvel book that Capullo's doing too. I haven't been excited for a Marvel anything in forever, like a new thing. But if Capullo's going to draw it, like, guess what, Marvel, you might get my money. Of course, my stupid local comic shop can't seem to put my holds in my box. I go in and say, hey, I'm here for my newest issue. And they're like, oh, we didn't put it in there. I'm like, well, can I get it? And they're like, no, it's not available anymore. And why the fuck do I come here? Assholes. I'm honestly glad to see Greg Capullo get away from DC, only because selfishly, I want to see his work, and I don't like DC Comics Batman books enough to like want to pick it up just based solely on his art. So I'm hoping this new thing, whatever he's doing, I mean, I'll definitely be picking it up. Geez, you don't have a comic shop within 200 miles? Do you live out in the middle of nowhere? In New Mexico, is it? Damn, man. I do try to support my local comic shop and go in there, and I've got the one book I have on hold, but then they can't get it on hold for me. So I'm like, I'm sure you guys are having a hard time staying in business. The least you could do is what you say. Mine, fortunately, my comic shop is literally 5 minutes down the road. I could walk there in 10 minutes. But again, what's the point if they don't fucking put your holds in your file? I'm just trying to keep collecting Savage Dragon. I know it's crazy, but I've been doing it since issue 1, and I'm not ready to break my run yet, but Eric is pushing me to. You could probably count all the stores in the state on both hands, mostly in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. That's rough. You know what's funny, Chuck? That's exactly when the book got less interesting and it never recovered. 100% correct. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind, Eric Larson's obviously like the love child of Walter Simonson and Jack Kirby, and I like that. But yeah, I always cite that. Issue 75 is when Dragon crushed that little Damien Darklord kid's skull to eliminate the kid from growing up to be basically Darkseid. and then Dragon went to an alternate universe world, and like the regular world that he'd been in with all the characters and all the stories went away, and even though he tried to like put him back into it long time later, it was never the same. And I've struggled. Like the book occasionally has bits of genius. There's been books here and there. I'm like, there we go. That feels like awesome old school stuff. But the instant Dragon crushed that kid's head, and I don't care that he crushed a kid's head because that was awesome. It's just the story changed to become like classic old school Marvel kind of vibe, and it just wasn't Dragon anymore, and it wasn't fun. Yeah, it jumped the shark. Yeah, it crushed the skull. I'm so glad you said that because I mention that all the time. Like I'm like, it's issue 75. It's just boom, it changed and it was never the same. But up till that was the funnest, most enjoyable comic I had ever read. I mean, not ever, but on a consistent basis from a consistent creator who had a clear vision, and I got to be reading it from ground level, from day one, issue one. And that's what I liked about it. I'm not saying it's better than anything, but I liked it because I got to read it from book one and follow the character. And Larson's ballsy. He killed off the dragon. He lets time pass, and the character's son is the star of the book, and it's just not as interesting anymore. You know, it's kind of a bummer. But I want to keep supporting him. But with every political post that Eric Larson makes, I kind of hate him a little bit more. And not hate, but that's a strong word. But I'm like, just shut up. Black and white. You love your black and white archive books. Man, I love black and white stuff so much. I'm always on the lookout. I know a lot of you guys don't care for the cartoonist kayfabe guys, but they just did a video on like the artist edition of Mike Mignola's Amazing Screw-On Head and other stories. I'd never even heard of this book, and the artwork in that looked so good. So I tried to look it up, and it's like there's nowhere to find for cheap. It is hyper expensive. That's another artist edition I want to track down. Yeah, he did that shit 20 years ago. It's never been the same. Yeah, but I keep collecting it because I don't want to break my run and I want to support him, but it's getting old. It's getting old. Oh yeah, I remember Chuck. You did say that once that you didn't kind of care for his vibe. Somebody said how awesome it could have been. Like, just imagine if, for some reason, Liefeld took off on X-Force and they didn't piss off Mignola, and he stayed on to draw a couple more issues of X-Force. I'm like, oh, that would have been amazing. That would have been so good. The complete opposite of what we were used to. Everyone would have hated it at the time and loved it now. I am a battered housewife. Oh, he doesn't mean it. It's just he gets this way. He's had a bad day at work. Oh, he means well. That's a good point, Chuck. That's a really good point. Well put, sir. You know what, D-Man? I was digging through some books that I'm going to do soon. Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine by Sam Keith, right? What's funny is I kept collecting these because Sam Keith was doing the covers, but none of the artwork inside was any good. But I kept collecting them because the covers were amazing. But There's like a short story by Liefeld in here that's not bad. Like, that's Liefeld right there. Chuck, you got to go, Crash Man, getting up to ink pages early. Yeah, thanks for stopping in, Chuck. Always a pleasure. But I was like looking through an old school issue of one of Liefeld's earliest Marvel things. I'm like, this isn't terrible. And I'm like, huh. So that's going to get its own separate, like, Liefeld kind of did good, sort of, kind of. Anyway. These damn Marvel Comics Presents. I got quite the pile. Shit, okay. That is a good question, D, man. I don't know if he... Here's the thing. I don't know if it said he stopped caring. I think he stopped being aware. I know I give him a lot of shit, but I think he cares about doing comics. He's just not aware enough when he was younger. Like Chuck has said, that Liefeld was so successful when he was so young, he had no reason to get better. Because he was so successful with what he was doing. It's like, why do I need to learn to get better? I think he cares. I just think he's unaware of how static and boring he's gotten over the years. I feel like he cared when he was younger. It felt like there was more passion and energy on the pages. I can't stand anything he does these days. It's so terrible. And if you listen to him, it's the greatest work he's ever done. Everything he does, everything on his current art board is currently the best thing he's ever done ever. Yeah, see, Gaten, I agree with you. It's a matter of believing the hype. Yeah, it's a lack of self-awareness. He doesn't get it. And he's taken so much shit for so long. He's like, everyone's just a hater, and I sold millions of copies and I'm still getting work, so you're all a bunch of losers. And like, all right, yeah, I know. Oh yeah, good point, someone's saying. He was the money train. And he paid his studio mates really well. That's a well-known thing. And that's to his credit, When Image Comics started and he had that kind of money, he paid everyone really well. What was it, $40,000 to Stephen Platt for one issue? He talked about paying Danny Meeke and Inker like $300 a page or something like that, which was like more than twice what he was getting elsewhere. Like, that's awesome. But I don't know, D-Man. I think they both got a big ego, but McFarlane's successful. Like him or hate him. Liefeld is not successful anymore. McFarlane was hugely successful back in the day, and he's still got his comics and his toys and this, that, the other, and he's extremely wealthy. I think Liefeld's certainly well off, but I don't know that he has any professional respect in the industry anymore, honestly. When does anybody talk about any of the stuff that Liefeld's done in recent years as remember this great thing he did? And the thing is I know a lot of people don't like McFarlane for his ego. I kind of do. I kind of like him. I'm kind of fine with him. He can kind of back it up, and I can see his perspective, even if I don't agree with it. Liefeld's just a dick. Yeah, Liefeld doesn't even own Youngblood anymore. Isn't that just the greatest thing? But Liefeld looks like he's got a Brigade movie getting made, and he's doing some action figures, which I think me and Gaten were talking about. We're like, you know what? I kind of want some of those figures. I can't justify it, but I want it. Yeah, exactly, Gaten. Yeah, you can respect some people who have an ego like that, but they have to be able to back it up with the talent. There you go. Perfect. Yep. Exactly. I remember hearing about Dooms 4, but I never saw it anywhere. In fact, I didn't think it existed until recently. And somebody's like, yeah, Mark Pasella drew it. I'm like, oh, well. But there was a time when I checked out of Liefeld's books. I'm like, I am not buying anything from all these other artists. I kept collecting Liefeld stuff for a long time, but I could not get into so many of his other books. They were just awful. Hey, D-Man, you'll be excited. I got another Rob Liefeld video coming up tomorrow. You seem to be a fan of those. It's the flip side to that, the strike file that I did of Jay Lee that came out today. It's the Liefeld version. So yeah, we get the flip side. And I start out saying in the video, I'm like, this is actually work of Liefeld's that I kind of like. And then as I go through it, I'm like, oh, I take that back. It's actually kind of terrible still. Yeah, I think I have like 2 or 3 different versions of a Youngblood comic not drawn by Liefeld. He tried to reboot it a couple of times, and it just failed every time. And which goes to credit to Liefeld. People buy it when he does it. No one gives a shit when someone else does. I need to find a comic shop that has a frickin' dollar box or a 50-cent bin or a quarter bin. The only shops I got near me are all like, cover price. I'm like, fuck your cover price. That's a good point, someone's saying. Yeah. But then I'm like, I don't know where a market is. I'll have to look that up. Well, I might need to wrap it up myself. I got to do a couple things before I get to bed. But this is fun, guys. Thanks for jumping in here. Sometimes I get nervous about doing these solo lives. Like, I don't have Jessica here to save me. She's charming and funny, and people like her. But then they always go well. Yeah, man. Thank you, Gaten, for stepping in and chit-chatting up the entire time. And sorry for almost making you think it was a different day. But Thursdays should be coming. We should be doing Thursdays stream like regular. Yeah, I agree. Bad Rock was a failure of a character. I've talked about on my channel what they should have done with them. You can't take a kid and put him in a body like that and throw him into combat and expect him to come out to be a well-adjusted human being. He'd be a fucked up, psychotic monster when he grows up. But anyway, yeah, the Raid Tuesday stream. For real. Oh, that's hilarious. The rare. Let's see, I thought you were like, this is a second rate Tuesday stream, which is still fair. All right, guys, I got to bounce. I got to do some stuff, so I appreciate it. You all are awesome. Appreciate it very much. Let's see this whole thing. Anyway, all right, guys. Check you later.